So looks, we're live. Welcome everyone to another live vlog here on this channel. I wanted to share some other business stuff. You've probably realized by now, usually we do low-level stuff, microkernel and bits and pieces and Linux and everything. But also other live, real-life IT business and pro tip stuff. So today's pro tip, how to save 50,000, also this is hidden behind that, how to save 50,000 or more euro. This is a real screenshot just taken some minutes ago. So yeah, long story short, we spent with my tiny little company, we probably thought we are unsuccessful one-man business with our unsuccessful Linux, but actually do also quite some business stuff. So yeah, 50,000 euro, real freaking lot of money for quite some, most people. Over a decade, however, so not like this week or this quarter, but actually since 2011. Although the real number will probably be a little bit higher, so maybe we spent in total close to 60,000 because we used in the beginning another account, and for multiple reasons later we used another. So the first years 2006 to probably another 10,000 plus minus. So anyway, so maybe 60,000 euro approximately, and it's a freaking lot of money. So why do I vlog this today? You may ask. What is the point of this video? The point of this video is 153,000 clicks, nearly 50 million impressions for stuff like our award-winning exact scan software and not T2 but OCR kit, our OCR. And to be honest, it's extremely hard to measure what you get for this money. And this is, I wanted to spread the word here a little bit. Of not wasting your hard-earned money, because a lot of this stuff, I have to say, over the decades, you know me, I'm not no bullshit person and cheapskate and stuff. So over the years, multiple times, I tried to analyze and get some hard data, and it's extremely hard to measure, especially so. The problem is, this 50 to 60,000 euros sounds like really a lot, although over a decade, so only some 5,000-6,000 euro a year, some 500-600 euro a month. That is not that much. I'm totally very well aware, but I'm also not yet infinite loop one kind of Apple company yet. But so the problem with that is that it's not that much money on a monthly basis, that you see this as very hard numbers in sales, with just some thousands clicks a month. And I would argue over a decade I came to the conclusion, so multiple times we tried to measure it, it's extremely hard to even measure this in the random noise. And my pro tip is, don't waste any of this money. A decade later, I have to say, mostly waste of money. And also Google makes it so, because what is the issue, right? 153,000 clicks, 50 million impressions, you would think, wow, first of all, impressions, probably nearly nobody looked at this, because all the serious people using ad blocker, people recurrently, I'm probably the nearly last person on earth to use an ad blocker. So all the pro people use ad blocker anyway, and otherwise impressions, it's like, yeah, you Google for something and nobody searched the web for best, what do we even get, best Mac software, and we probably get some random bullshit, probably, obviously not. This is obviously not the best software, you obviously want exact scan. The problem is, of course, multiple additional things, so this is highly expensive. For what you get, I would argue you get next to nothing. And you also see, for some real effect, you probably have to spend more than 50 to 60,000 euro over a decade. And the issue for us is, maybe some business have it easier. Actually, our exact scan and OCR kit software, both professional software. And the problem with this, both things have high-priced competitors, and exact scan in particular. If you have keywords, I just don't want to, I could theoretically show you there, but I've intentionally made a screenshot not to, again, share too much private data. And the issue with that is that each click for the keywords highly expensive. For scanning, we are competing with even virus scanner stuff. So you make the scanner macOS stuff, and then you're competing with multi-million, if not billion-dollar companies for virus scanner stuff when you have a scan software. And on OCR kit, you're competing with OCR and PDF and stuff. You're competing with basically the whole industry. So the clicks are around $3 to $6, not making this shit up. So each freaking click in the interwebs there of Google, when you like OCR, PDF, Mac or something, and what right now, why no advertisement? Anyway, so that's what you're competing with, and for $3 to $6 a click for people, for those who are most likely not going to buy your product, certainly. So I'm back. We are real business. People calling when they Google the internet. Speaking of which, you're interested in amazing software. Anyway, so what is my summary and my pro tip? My pro tip is, so what I will do after for a decade being barely able to measure any impact, and that is of course a problem, right? The big Silicon Valley corporations, Google and Amazon, get richer and richer, pay no taxes, and infrastructure here is falling apart. I will spend this money, I will rather spend this money. So there are two things. First of all, if you waste 50,000, 50K, 60K dollar or euro, which fun fact, 50,000 euro are anyway 60 something thousand dollar, you need to earn this, right? So I could either save this money and have 50,000, like work less and enjoy life more, or if I want to be similar successful, my pro tip would be to work with other websites and local businesses to spend this money like for corporations, for promotions, for like serious websites, and also optimize, like work with websites like other listings, because a lot of like bloggers and other product listings are way more successful on websites like work with forums and stuff. Another fun fact, I once even spent, I think, on some sale and free slot we spent here for this. This is some advertising network. I think we spent maybe $4,000 on top of this Google Adwords stuff, so much to a small business here sitting in the basement. I'm only sharing this because I want the whole industry and advertising stuff to develop in more positive ways. Because, as I said, waste of time and money. And this also for this 4,000, because I thought maybe this is more successful, this Daring Fireball. But honestly, this is very small and probably very few people. What this was the direct clicks there. What is this direct? Best Pro camera for iPhone. Why does it link to? This links to the App Store. This in previous times, actually I'm not sure right now. Previously this was some Next advertising network, and it was like on Daring Fireball and like 20 other sites. And this 4,000 euro, I only disclose this here because people always say, just advertise more, just PR more. It's like, yeah, we for sure tried a whole lot, not only Google AdWords, but also other stuff, this and plenty of other things. And I have to say, probably this Daring Fireball $4,000 advertising network, maybe even less influential and less successful than Google AdWords. And in general, I rather, for the 50,000, I rather hire here some part-time PR person than continuing giving this monopolies more money for bloody clicks that have next to zero effect anyway. And in general, I also want people to reflect, life and business is a constant. The only constant in life and business is constant. You need in life and business constantly reevaluate the stuff. And if you're not satisfied, if you're not finding positive outcome, change. And change is the only constant. And also, last but not least, everyone always thinks this Google is so magic and amazing and stuff. I have to say this is not amazing and not magic. This is a horrible interface, a horrible system, especially with this automatic bidding. If you don't, I had this configured very conservative, and if you let this free running in automatic bidding mode and stuff, it just gets more expensive, and your competitors and you are just each month driving the price higher for less clicks of more random garbage. And last but not least, I also wanted to had some other points that probably I should make more points. Anyway, so yeah, long story short, think through what you spend money for. Really evaluate what you get for this money. Also, a lot of companies don't do this, right? All right, I wanted to say, make sure you are found, like if you Google for some stuff, that you are also found. And some really funny thing is, not sure if we probably I should have tested this before the live stream, but often yeah, so this is super stupid. Look at this. What a funny coincidence. I didn't even test this before. But use keywords that are not exactly your name, right? Because if people already Google for your stuff, they already know about your stuff, and they don't need advertisements. So total waste of money, at least the Apple thing here, because Apple is already first hit here anyway, right? So this is super waste of money. A lot of I've seen this so often. You Google for some airline flights. I mean, probably not now, but flight or something. Not sure if you can. So not for this. So this is how also best spelled correctly. So this is how it should be, that the first hit is already your site, not a paid advertisement, just some random bullshit. But I've seen this so often. For you Google for something and the expensive waste of money of first click of, yeah. And the last but not least, if you run an account spending some non-trivial of more than nothing, like if you spend a little bit, you get a monthly your this month advisor. And I found the only thing Google does is optimizing, taking money out of your pocket. This advisor stuff always resulted in more money spent for less clicks. So usually the first years I ignored this. So for 5 years, from until 2014 or something, I ignored this. And then, because already a decade ago I was dissatisfied with this bloody advertising shit, and then I made a test, and once I said, okay, fine, you called me already the 20th time over 4 years now. Okay, fine, let's go through this bloody interface stuff here and change group of that keyword matching, of this bidding algorithm stuff, and keyword not precise match of word group of yada yada. And it produced, it like costed twice as much for the same clicks. And then I even called Google advertising bullshit there. And this was like 2015, 5 years ago. And I told them, look, last month was complete bullshit. We have now half the clicks for the same money, obviously. We don't have more sales or whatsoever. Can we restore the setting from last month? So it turns out, at least back in the day, you couldn't even restore this, right? The biggest web company's flagship of IT engineering, and you can't even backup, restore, checkpoints and stuff. So you have here all the bloody interface settings, and at the end of the day, 2020 or 2015, no undo feature. You make here 100 changes. You can't even roll back your bloody changes, except everything. It's hilarious. And in general, totally not impressed. Until recently, so 2 years or something, for the longest time, from 2006-07 to 2015-16, this interface was completely old-fashioned and outdated, right? So much to Google. I always wondered, for a decade, I wondered how the biggest web and advertising company on earth can have the most arcane and outdated, bloody old-fashioned interface. Of course, now it's vastly modernized, but only the last 2 or 3 years or something. But yeah, anyway, leave me in the comments below what you think. My pro tip: waste of money, work with local businesses, it's anyway, like websites, like work with them directly instead of feeding Google's never-ending demand for your monies, work with other news sites, vloggers, bloggers, and all the stuff in between, and just be creative with other stuff, other events. There are so many creative ideas, but this is just a massive pyramid bidding scheme that after a decade I'm pulling the plug now. Since already December the 1st, it's already a couple of days, it's eighth day disabled, and but over the years we often try to measure this. I said this before. We spending no change in sales. We stopped it for some weeks, nearly no change in sales. Of course, sometimes there was like a little bit there, a little bit there. So it's super difficult to actually measure. Then we often, because you always want more sales, we re-enabled this, but often with next to no change. And again, 2020, re-evaluating and change and maximizing what we can do. And I rather spend money on more local people, more local business, other websites. And in the comments below what you think. And also beware those people who want to optimize they usually only add more random keywords, like optimizing, adding random keywords. You get more clicks, you get more spendings at the end of the day. Not visible. It's in the noise of threshold to noise ratio for us. But again, even though this number looks big, maybe our monthly spending were too low, some would say. But anyway, that's my summary. Also, last point, one more thing. Some years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, Google changed. They have here some automated. They have here some automation of. I think they changed this 2 years ago, so that if you ignore those automated artificial intelligence tips, those proposed automated changes, they are applied automatically, right? Which is a total dick move of their algorithm determines this keywords and stuff. Try to follow this up. I could never really figure it out if it automatically applied stuff for us. I only saw the email, but somehow it looked like maybe it didn't do it for us. Maybe we are in Germany. Maybe it only does this in America. One of the lowest stuff of automatically reconfiguring this to the automated findings. Like, no. Thank you very much, Google. Anyway, let's see what we have in the comments. I hope you appreciate this insights. I only mostly try to help avoid. Maybe it works amazingly for you. Leave it in the comments below. But otherwise, I would say with this money, this is just need to burn over a decade for threshold to noise ratio. Let's see. Marco has recommendations of Nextcloud and stuff. Optimizing, take money off the people enjoy my morale was late. Yes, CPC is ridiculous to begin with. Pay more for better targeting, but in the end, Google our pro business. But in general, I would also say it's given that most profit myself. It's like, yeah, probably don't spend it. Also, this is in general feeding those services, right? We all, with all the 100, if not million small business worldwide, give so much hard-earned money to Silicon Valley monopolies that have software as a service only at financed, and at the end of the day, get very little back. This is, and then they just concentrate so much power in terms of influencing the IT industry, and all they do is selling advertisements and automatically optimizing selling advertisements. We stop it now. Let's hope I don't regret this, but I will continue to watch this now. So this will be the longest long-term tests. I will leave this disabled for at least a quarter. I hope I don't have to turn it on again. But then again, I in general want to better support the local community. So I probably would rather hire some half-day PR, professional PR people, although this is super difficult, right? I tried this a couple of times, and the biggest problem, and this is probably the last pro tip, I found it really difficult to work with a lot of such people because many of them only spend more. Like, we need to spend more, we need to spend more, we need more keywords. Like, thank you very much. I don't need to hire people to only increase the spending slider there, right? I can do this myself. Also adding more keywords, I can do this myself, or accept the automatically proposed keywords there from Google. I don't need to hire someone for that. This is obviously also a waste of money. So another pro tip, if you want to be in PR and advertising, you need to be more creative than just spend more on random internet advertising. Anyway, that we learned something. So what do we advertise? I said this in the beginning, mostly exact scan and OCR kit. And as I said, both even, and this is of course similar to our Linux, our T2 Linux here. Do I have this? I closed this. This is obviously here. I even tried to advertise for T2 Linux, T2 embedded Linux board support package stuff, but that was in the early days, 2005, 6, 7. Similar expensive and similar a fail. But otherwise, this 50,000 to 60,000 euro exclusively went into OCR kit, professional text recognition, and exact scan, high-speed document scanning with 500 finally dedicatedly reverse engineered drivers for all seriously professional document scanners here of this sort here. Mostly for Mac OS, but theoretically also Linux and Windows. You might have seen this. The stuff that obviously we don't earn a living with T2 embedded Linux, but with professional UI-based end-user PDF and OCR scan software, because that is actually what people want to spend money for, and obviously not for source distribution. I know, so Satisana asks, has a question, not a big fan of Apple and Google. Which do you feel are worse? Well, this is fan. This thing is not a fan. As seen in the previous videos, they just don't do that much good, right? Apple and Google are both, I would both companies not call rather advancing the state of society or doing a better for humankind. And yeah, of course, Apple and Google are vastly different companies. Probably needs a dedicated video. It's hard to answer this. And I have, in general, I have nothing against the concept of paying for advertisement. Certainly, we have spent You also need to understand this is also after a decade of spending that much of sinking and tanking, probably upwards to 60,000 euros, so out of control, because people don't measure this, right? A lot of people don't apply any kind of matrix and just spend and spend. And you need checks and balances, not only for certain things, but also for your advertisements and other business spendings. And it's nothing about hating or fan. We tried it, and despite for a decade having it hard to measure any, you always think maybe it has a little bit. This is more than nothing, and even though we could pay it, I think we could significantly better things with this money. Plus, obviously, the $4,000 we spent here for this Daring Fireball, which was even very amazing little advertising. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for that. As usual, leave me the comments below what you think. Do you have tips, or what is your experience? And in general, one really last thing is, I said already a decade ago to friends and family, we also in general, not only in 2020 with this developments in the world, and then Fridays for Future and World Overshoot Day, we need to do better than this, right? And I said already a decade ago to my friends and family, we can't have a society in a lot of industries and areas where people only live like this, YouTubing and websites only living from advertising, right? This is not a viable long-term business strategy that an increasingly significant amount of jobs and people's income is solely derived from advertising and concluding that sort. I decided it's enough euro of testing that and better contributing with that non-trivial amount to more local people having income for their living and kids and stuff is making Google more rich. What else do we have here? Comes here, but didn't you make one of those conversion tracking? What? Just come here, but didn't you make use of conversion tracking so your ads are actually making their money back? So we usually didn't, but the problem is also giving Google even more data, right? The more data you give Google, this is, of course, you spend this money anyway, right? Like this is also, I mean, the whole in Google for Apple iPhone, and even Apple is so insecure that they need to spend this advertising budget on Google Adwords. This is hilarious to pay there for that. And the other thing is, this is conversion tracking. How often have you, I mean, probably many of you, most of you run with an ad blocker, but with me, not with this philosophy of not visiting websites that live from this advertising and wanting to have professional people see my own advertising, visiting websites without ad blocker. When I Google for something like a Samsung SSD or whatever, the AMD Ryzen, and you order it eventually, how many weeks and months I continue to see advertisements for stuff already purchased. So even for big companies like Amazon, Samsung, AMD and all this stuff, this is conversion and purchased. And when I'm not even sure which, as previously seen on many of my videos when in this IT security news debriefing, when I visit websites, I'm always surprised myself how full websites are these days. This is, of course, and understand why. Not sure what is the best example, but let's just visit here some random stuff. Many of these websites probably I cannot reproduce this here just now. If it even would load, hello, how many? It's also our drop frame situation. But a lot of websites in my IT news that it is at times hard to navigate the websites. This is not the worst. Also another thing, totally, this is not what OS News has since some advertising. Hello, somehow internet is right now really kaput. OS News has a really annoying form of advertising, is that when you maybe not sure why not now. So usually there was a pop-up, not sure why I don't get this now. This is like the worst I've ever seen, like full screen, like for each thing you click. Somehow it doesn't, as usual, live on this channel, isn't it? No, maybe more people complain, but this was, you click on anything, you get a full screen of, and then there's some advertisement, probably super maximizing the click-through rate to 90% of all the people. Centered advertising thing. It's hilarious. But anyway, leave in the comments what you think. I either work less, have some free time with the family, or give this money to... that's it for this video. I hope you learned something, and I hope to see you soon for the next videos and live streams to come.